Was badly hurt in that shipboard accident. His left leg was nearly severed, held in place mostly with bandages, and he'd lost a great deal of blood. The nearest doctor was on a vessel more than 6 miles away, and Carl's survival depended on the immediate medical care of his own ship's corpsman, a man named Warren Ryder.
When I got out there, I didn't expect that type of an accident. I thought somebody had fallen or tripped or hurt their finger or what. And when I saw him, I got there, one of the other men had already put a tourniquet on his leg. And then I seen how serious it was, came back, got my bag with the morphine in it. We went out and we started putting on more tourniquets, gave him a shot of morphine, and then we had to bring him back into sick bay here. What I really remember the most vividly was he was in such good physical shape that his leg was one solid muscle, and stop the bleeding was damn near impossible. But, it was just, everything was, all his muscles were tensed up and tight, and to stop the bleeding, I thought we were going to have to end up putting a chain around it, really.
At this time, I'd only had one shot of morphine, and I was beginning to get into a little bit of pain, along with the tourniquets he had on my leg. And I was hurting so bad, he gave me a towel to bite on. And I recall the times I'd ask him, how about loosening up one of them tourniquets? And he said, shut up and lay down. Well, this didn't sit too well with me at the time because I was getting a little bit uptight. But after the accident, after I was starting in the recovery phase, well, I realized then that he did an outstanding job.
Nobody had to really stop and think of what we were doing. It was just something that we did that came naturally.
While Corpsman Ryder fought to save Carl's life, the ship pulled up anchor and proceeded to rendezvous with the cruiser Albany. Transferring the injured man was to be a very hazardous business.
Well, you have to remember that there's a tremendous difference in the size of the two ships, as much sometimes as 20, 25 feet. And it was a very dangerous operation. We had the chief in a stretcher. He was being administered an IV at that time. And I got a hold of the chief, or the boat's mate, on the cruiser and told him that we would pass lines over and for him not to pull until I gave him the word. Bashir was about 4 feet off the deck, I suppose. I took the IV bottle and dropped it between his legs. And this time the ships were coming together. I mean, they would really hit. The water had come up. So we really had to guess our time. We only had about, I would say, 3 or 4 seconds where the ship stayed steady, you know, on a level deck. So at that time, I gave a yell over, and what we did is we did not pass the chief over. We literally threw him over there.
Carl Bashir was aboard the cruiser Albany for only a short time. His life depended on getting him to a hospital, and the nearest was at Torrejon Air Force Base, halfway across Spain. With a heavy loss of blood and the deep shock, he almost lost the race against time. At one point during his journey, Carl had no pulse whatsoever. A second examination revealed a barely discernible heartbeat. Massive blood transfusions followed. He would at least survive. Then, during the month that followed, Carl was transferred to various hospitals in Europe, where attempts were made to save his leg. Finally, he was flown back to the United States, to the Naval Hospital, Portsmouth, Virginia.